Sorry. I'll let it out. Hello, everybody. This is Boxing Bros UK. We are back. We've had some technical difficulties with the streaming app, but I am his Chris. This is my co-host, Andrew, the Boxing Brain.
We're like a fighter with good powers of recovery, right? Things have beaten us things have knocked us on the canvas the last couple of days, but we're back up and we're still in the fight, Chris, eh?
Yes, resilience is key. So we're going to be talking about the Magnificent Seven main cards. Yeah, you have to excuse me. I stubbed my head with a mistake. Right. First fight we're going to talk about is Sean Knoakes. So I'm going to go through the fight. I'm going to talk through the fight, and then you give me what your thoughts. So first few rounds, feel out rounds. Not much happening. Sean Knoakes chasing his opponent around the ring, who was a great decorated amateur. So he had good feet, moving around. Wasn't really catching him. Then Knoakes started to cut off the ring quite a bit, close the distance. It was looking like a really scrappy, ugly, horrible fight, to be honest. And then Knoakes started to up the pace a bit, mid-rounds. Good body work, hitting him to the body, took his legs away, landed them uppercut. Rennie was coming back now and again. Knoakes started to slow down a bit, and then he went through the gears again, and then he just started punishing him, bossing the rounds. The guy was just like, he didn't really have much power to keep him off. Sean Knoakes was bossing it by the end, hitting him at will, closing the distance. And that's just how it went, really. And it was a comfortable win for Sean Knoakes in the end. Another defence of his English title. Thoughts?
Yeah, well rounded up, to be honest. Not really sort of too much to add there. Was loading up a bit at times, wasn't he? You know, put some good body shots in there. As you say, sort of started off a little bit slow. As you say, the other guy, you know, decent pedigree, but in the end, he was being beat up quite a lot. There was only, as he was going through the gears a bit, he started to kind of warm into the fight, didn't he, Sean? Our Maidstone lad. And we'll get to the other brother soon, who had a terrific performance. I thought one of the performances of the night, actually, Sam. But no, good win for Sean. At the end of the day, a win. A win's a win. On to the next one.
Yeah, that's it. And obviously, let's not forget, we've got to give Sean some credit. He wasn't fighting a Dinlow. He was fighting a guy who was a decorated amateur, good fighter, like at the level that he's fighting at now. Good feet. He just didn't have much power to keep him off. So it was a good win, good morning fight, you know. And next one. So we've got
Alois Jr., is it?
Yeah, we'll do Alois Jr. So Alois Jr. The guy who was fighting, was he an English guy?
The Great Oak, isn't it?
Yeah. So
is that his alias? I think that's his alias, isn't it? That's his alias, the Great Oak, or something like that. Was it something like that in his alias? And I'll tell you what, I don't know about the Great Oak tree in there. It was more like a bloody the pot plant tree or something in there. Yeah, it was a bit more like my Christmas tree, Chris, I think.
Yeah. So this guy, in all due respect, he wasn't very good.
No, not it showed, didn't it?
Yeah. Alois was cutting the ring off, hitting him at will, really. What Alois showed us in this fight, positives, better defense than last time. His defense was very tight. And he was landing good counter punches, doing really well. But for me, one thing I noticed, like, I don't know why, like when he's his footwork, I know he's not going to be a graceful dancer, but he's kind of like stamping. You know, like when he's like closing the ring or stepping it right. He's like stamping his feet. And like you don't need to stamp that hard. I know when like sometimes you want power, so you step into your punches. But when you're just moving around or you're fainting or whatever, you don't need to stamp like that hard. And he just his footwork's not. He needs to work on his footwork a bit. because I don't think his footwork's very good for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to add to that, I mean, look, you know, I like, he was at our first press conference, one of my favourite interviews. Great in front of the camera, as I've said previously, seems to light up in front of the camera. Very self-confident, almost borderline arrogant, but I'd never mind that in a fighter. You know, you look throughout history, your Chris Eubanks, you know, that's not, you know, it, but I think he's very, very self-confident. He's got plenty of power, looks the part, good-looking kid. I do worry a little bit about his footwork, if I'm being brutally honest. I know Josh Antonio, you know, our good friend has sparred him a little bit and has said, you know, in order to beat him, he thinks, you know, if you've got some skills, if you're technically gifted, and if you can keep him off you and you've got good movement, you can box him and beat him. And I think, you know, and he throws 1 and 2 shots, doesn't he, a lot of the time, Chris? And I think if there's a guy in there who's got a bit of pop in his shots, I mean, he struggled a bit with Berardi. He did win that fight.
I was going to say, you know, Berardi had quite good feet and he was struggling. It wasn't easy, and it's quite lucky he got the results.
I noticed in that fight, and I think I was texting you at the time, and I thought Berardi was really light on his really, he was sort of up on his toes and moving around well, and it was causing Alois a few problems. I think this was a fight to get his confidence back. You know, a guy that's not getting, I'm just calling it as I see it, right?
Yeah.
The guy, he's no mug, the other guy, but he wasn't great. He didn't have the power to get off him, to keep Alois off him. And I think this was to provide Alois with, you know, get back on that knockout trail, give him confidence. I think moving forward, though, he's still very young. We have to remember he's only 21, 22, which is mad to think. Anyone that's got a bit more pop in his shots, some movement, some boxing IQ, will get him moving around that ring. He's quite heavily muscular, Alois. Taking him into the 6th, 7th, 8th round could cause him a lot of problems. And I've just got to, because we've got to give both sides of it. There's lots of positives, but I do think there is a lot of, he's still a bit raw, I think.
For sure. I think definitely needs some more learning fights. Definitely they need to put him in with some more movers. He needs to get used to fighting people because he's flat-footed. He's always going to be flat-footed. He's never going to be able to move quick. So he needs to fight. I've learning fights against movers, not much power, just getting used to cutting the ring off, moving his feet a little bit better. I think that's what would be best for him. Fight some more movers, English title level, or bring some foreigners over or whatever you want to do. But that's what he needs for me.
Yeah, cut that ring off, apply the pressure, punches in bunches, picking his moments. I think he'll be fine. I think the talent's there, the powers that I think he'll be fine. I don't want, obviously we want to see his chin tested a little bit more. You know, Berardi wasn't the biggest puncher, and this guy certainly wasn't a puncher. But like to see the old whiskers tested a bit, Chris. But what is he? 11 fights in, 10 fights in. So early days. What is he? The international Commonwealth belts, the WBO. I think he's got or one of those.
He's mandatory for a Commonwealth belt or something like that. But I just think
that's right.
He needs to get, before he gets his chin tested, he needs to learn how to cut the ring off like good and like properly, because it's no good if you haven't got the good footwork. It's no point getting your chin tested, because how are you going to get away? You know,
what's a bit of Beterbiev? I mean, he's the one to I call him the greatest closer, because he's one of the best I've seen in recent memory at cutting the ring off. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, learn how to get the dark heart. Step on the guy's front foot a bit. Disrupt his movement. You know, learn a few of the old man and dark arts. Old man the other guys a bit. You know, all that kind of stuff. Experience. Yeah. That'll come with experience, though, Chris. Do you know what I mean? Sure. He just needs more experience.
I'll say it again. His defense was a lot better than it was against Berardi. Like, he really tightened himself up, you know, and he had a little bit more head movement, parrying, counter punching. Like, he was doing a lot better than he did against Berardi. But obviously, so I'll leave it there. I won't go too much into it and take more credit away. The next one, oh my God, right. I don't know what happened in it. Is it Solomon Dacres, David Adelaide? Yeah.
I've still watched that now, and I'm not quite sure how he knocked him out.
Right. It looked like the wind of the punch knocked him over. This is another.
This is a bit of a. I don't really know where to go with this one because look, and I was saying to Josh, I think it was Josh. I know who I was saying it to. That no, I was watching it with a friend, wasn't I actually? And she said, "How has he got knocked out by that?" And I said, "Look, listen, when you're 16 stone plus, you don't have to catch a guy clean to knock him out, right? You catch him on the underside of the chin, the top of the head, grazing. You know, these guys, certainly with a guy that can hit hard as well, it doesn't always take much. Scramble the brain. No. It doesn't always take much, but it was almost kind of like a glancing shot, but I think he caught him a bit more than that. But Dacres, I mean,
I think it hit him on equilibrium, but like at first stance, it looked like he just skimmed his head, and like the wind of the punch knocked him out. Do you know what I mean?
But I think what did that? I know our friends over at Last Bell are not big fans of Solomon, who's kind of in their neck of the woods, isn't he? He's a Midlands boy, and over at Last, give them a shout out. Last Bell Boxing, check them out. Good friends of ours.
Yeah,
they're not big fans of him as a person or as a fighter. Actually, they're quite scathing of him. But God, dearie me, I mean, absolutely zero punch resistance there, Chris, wasn't there? I mean, that was Adelaide can punch. We know that. We know he's a puncher. But bloody hell! I mean, I don't. There's nothing to analyse in this fight. It's like a bit like with the Okolie one coming up. I mean,
So he fell over from the wind of Adelaide's punch. Not joking. But Next one. I mean, I want to do Okolie next year. So, like this one, for me, like it was only one round, so we can't tell much. But what I can say is, Okolie was looked a little bit slower to me, and he looked a bit like they were both. The other guy was shit. Yeah, he was fucking clumsy. Do you know this looked like? This fight at the beginning, it reminded me of Roy Jones and Mike Tyson when they had that when they did that exhibition years ago. They both looked like fucking clumsy fat old men, like trying to hit each other. No one was throwing clean, clinical straight shots. But obviously the power's still there from Okolie. You can see that. But from what I seen, he looked sluggish to me. And a bit slower. Like, because he used to be like Wilder. He used to have like when he could set it up when he wasn't hugging and stuff. Like he had a really good straight right hand, and like his right hand was like looping and like weird, everything just looked a bit sluggish and clumsy to me. But he got the job done. First fight heavyweight. Let's hope, and it's his first fight with his new trainer. First fight at heavyweight. So let's hope bigger and better things for Lawrence Okolie. Because the power's there, he's got the size. Let's see how he goes on. What do you think?
Yeah. So to add little bits to that, I know they were talking recently about Dillian Whyte and someone else, and he was saying he wants to fight champions next to but we'll do that in another video. In terms of the fight, I mean he's with Joe Gallagher now, isn't he? He's his new trainer, and I know they've been working on a lot of stuff, and they alluded to that in a post-fight interview that he's maybe been a bit harsh, and we've all sort of said it about the hugging. Went life and death with Chris Billam-Smith, because even though he's a two-weight world champion, let's have it right. And look, again, I always call it as I see it like you do. His real fight with any trepidation and adversity was against Chris Billam-Smith, and he did stink the place out. I like the guy. I loved your interview with him. He seems like a proper sound guy. So I mean this with absolute respect, but just purely from a fight and analyst point of view. So we do need to see a little bit more. We were talking about the weight beforehand. I still think that's potentially going to be a problem, although he did say he's going to come back down to around 240, 245, which makes sense. I think this was just literally to tick over, on the TNT show. This is what I think's gone on. The other guy was a bloody binman. Let's have it right. Hussein. I mean, Jesus Christ. He'd have been better on the bins, I think, to be honest with you. And
it was
TNT show, first round knockout. I think he was there to kind of put on a bit of a show, and it worked in that respect. But you know, if he's in and around that weight and with someone that can move a bit and that can punch, and he is going to slow down a bit, of course, then obviously that could be a problem. Not really much more for me to add to that on the back of what you would say. I mean, I'm interested to see who we'd fight next. I know people are sort of talking maybe Joe Joyce. I think it's a name that's been chucked out there. William White, he don't want that fight.
The thing is, mate, I think Dylan White would be a great fight for him. Joe Joyce. I'm telling you now, if he thinks that he's gonna like run in there and start fighting like your Zangs, your Caballeros, he's not ready for that yet. We haven't seen enough. For me, he needs to like settle into heavyweight.
Chris. He said he wants world titles, but why would you go straight into a world title after a kind of your first fight at heavyweight? I don't. I'm a little bit.
How it works is it's not right. So the WBO do this and WBC. So because he was a champion at Bridgerweight, WBC, he's moved up to heavyweight straight away. He's in the top 5 rankings. Yeah, and he's just had a knockout with him. So he could be mandatory for Usyk Fury next.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, in terms of I get how it works, but I just think surely you'd want another you'd want another just a little step up before that, you know, because it's all very well, isn't it, going up from cruiserweight to bridgerweight and being beating again with respect, beating Rosansky for a world title, then stepping up to heavyweight, fighting Hussein, who's ranked about 150 in the world, and then going in against, you know, Daniel Dubois, Usyk, Jacques. I mean, that would be madness, matchmaking to me. But I don't know.
Unless Frank Warren's gassing him up and he's making him food for Dubois for his next fight. Like nice as he touched for Dubois, he's gonna have that Nigerian puff, nice puff donut to eat.
That's an interesting theory.
Voluntary.
Using the Okolie name, because he is a name in Britain, domestic dust up, feed into Dubois, feed into the shark, and doesn't rise to the surface.
Because if you look at it, let's be realistic, Usyk Fury fighting, and if Fury wins, maybe Okolie might get a shot because Fury's that type of guy. He'll take it. But if Usyk wins, Usyk said, I'm fighting Dubois next, becoming undisputed again and retiring. That's what Usyk said he's doing. And Usyk's a man of his word. He don't chat shit. Everything he said he's going to do, he does. Like, so he said, I don't want to waste time fighting people. I want Fury. And if he could get Fury, so he just fought his mandatory, so he didn't lose the belt, so he can maintain his undisputed. So if Usyk wins, he's retiring. So Okolie's not going to get that fight, what he wants of WBC.
I'll tell you what, though, Chris, just off the back of what you're saying there, though, if Okolie's if his team kind of plan it and are clever enough about this, the way the landscape of the heavyweight division is going to open up, if he waits around a couple of, what is he, 31, 32, so he might actually mature into his weight. He's a big guy, 6'5". I think he could carry 240, 250 pounds, no problem. You know, but he punches hard, you know, and he is a decent enough boxer. There is, you know, we know he's decent. If he waits for Usyk, Fury, AJ to retire in a few years and the belts get fragmented a bit, I could see him picking up a heavyweight world title in a few. I definitely, that could happen. He punches hard enough. Not sure about his chin. I mean, Chris Billam-Smith is not a puncher, and he was going life and death with Billam-Smith, Chris.
Yeah, I know.
But what I would say to that is he was tight at the weight, though, at cruiserweight. Apparently, he was eating once a day. So I will add that in there to give him a bit of credit, because I think he was struggling
It takes your punch resistance away.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it does make you weaker if you're depriving your body of nutrients and making you fight fatigued and all that kind of stuff. So we're giving that one
100%.
So
moving on, who's Sam Knoakes?
Sam Knoakes. Wow. Well, firstly, my good friend Ryan Walsh. What a tough guy. He tried his best. What a tough man. He tried, he really gave his all. But you got to give it to Sam Knoakes. The thing I love about Sam Knoakes the most is discipline. That guy is so disciplined. He doesn't get carried away. When like some fighters, right? He's going, and they just empty the tank because it's just in them. Like, he's got the discipline to hold back and think, I'm not going to rush in and try and knock him out, or maybe get myself knocked out. And he just carries on, chipping away. And he did that in his last fight. Same thing. Didn't get carried away. Didn't go for the knockout if it wasn't completely there. His discipline is absolutely phenomenal. He will go far. And it was a great fight at first, but hard to watch in the end because I like Ryan Walsh and I didn't want to see him getting them beatings, but he's a fighter and they can only get saved from either the ref or their trainer,
Yeah, 100%. No, well said. I think to start with Ryan Walsh. Look, I mean, what a tough, one of the toughest. Him and Chris Billham-Smith have got to be two of the toughest British fighters I've seen in a while. Yeah. And, I did wonder at the end there, I wasn't sure I wanted to see much more of that, but his corner were never going to pull him out. I think he sort of alluded to this. He was never going to quit. He never been stopped in his career. He's 38. Yeah. He's come into the twilight years of his career, particularly at that weight. And I think he's proud. He's obviously a very proud man and proud fighter, and didn't want to be stopped. Wanted to maintain that record because there's a lot to be said for that, Chris, isn't there? Sam Knoakes, though, as you say, I know he's got a lot of knockouts on his record, but he showed real maturity in there. Very, very disciplined. Kept getting behind the jab. Kept trying to sort of do his work leading off of the jab, some body shots, putting some uppercuts in there, sort of a lot of good things from him, actually. Took a few good shots from Ryan Walsh as well. Like you say, I think he seems to be going from strength to strength, Sam Knoakes, because Ryan Walsh is no mug. Certainly no mug. He's a good fighter. And also Sam showed him a lot of respect, which I think is also a credit to Ryan Walsh as well. So
definitely.
Yeah.
Because and to be fair to Ryan Walsh, and this is why this was a good learning fight for Sam Knoakes. He did tried all the old tricks in the book. I've got some notes here. His experience, going really, really low. So he was forced to either lean on him, he was standing on his front foot, he was switch hitting, he was playing possum, letting him unload, then catching him with a big shot. He caught him a few times till Sam Knoakes realised what he was doing. He did all the old tricks in the book. And Sam Knoakes, it was a good learning fight for him because now he's seen all these tricks. He's got through it, made the adjustments, and good win. On to bigger and better things. Knoakes boys, hope to interview them guys again soon. Sam at Ibrox, and I can't remember what gym Sean's at, but he did tell me, but I forgot. But we'll try and get in there, get an interview with them boys.
Paddy Padley next for Sam. Josh Padley.
I would love that fight. I really want to see that fight. Josh Padley. I would love to see it. Because I don't want to see him fight anyone who's coming off a loss, like Chamberlain or anyone like that. Like Sam Knox is doing the best thing. He's fighting people coming off wins. He's doing well. He's not fighting losers. And that's always good, man. And I can't wait to see more. Big up the main star boys.
Absolutely. Who's left? Is that everyone?
That's everyone.
Apart from the main event.
Yeah. So that's it from us, Boxing Bros UK. Please like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Please.